Call, please.
Zasada,
Here.
Larson,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Perkins,
Here.
Verbeck,
Here.
Walker,
Here.
Mayor Barnes.
Here.
7 present.
All right, and then moving on to agenda item B, our usual person that leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance is not here tonight. So I thought I would ask NIU's Chief of Staff, Matt Streb, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight before your presentation. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it, man. Yep, you just start.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Streb. All right, moving on to agenda item C, approval of the agenda. I would take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Alderman Verbeck, seconded by Alderman Perkins. Any comments or questions on the agenda? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Zasada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Verbeck,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes.
7 aye.
All right, the agenda has been approved. Moving on to agenda item D, presentations. Number 1, we have one on Motorcycle Awareness Month, May 2024. So whereas safety is the highest priority for our highways and streets of our city and state, and whereas the great state of Illinois is proud to be a national leader in motorcycle safety, education, and awareness, and whereas motorcycles are a primary, common, and economical means of transportation that reduces fuel consumption and road wear and continues in a significant way to the relief of traffic and parking congestion. And whereas it is especially meaningful that the citizens of our city and state be aware of motorcycles on the roadways and recognize the importance of motorcycle safety. And whereas the members of ABATE, A-B-A-T-E, of Illinois, Inc., a brotherhood aimed towards education, continually promote motorcycle safety, education, and awareness in high school driver's education programs and to the general public in our city and state, presenting motorcycle awareness programs to over 120,000 participants in Illinois over the past 7 years. And whereas all motorcyclists should join ABATE of Illinois, Incorporated, in actively promoting the safe operation of motorcycles, as well as promoting motorcycle safety, education, awareness, and respect of the citizens of our city and state. Whereas the motorcyclists of Illinois have contributed extensive volunteerism and money to national and community charitable organizations. And whereas during the month of May, all roadway users should unite in the safe sharing of our roadways with the city of DeKalb and throughout the great state of Illinois. Therefore, I, Cohen Barnes, Mayor of the City of DeKalb, in the great state of Illinois, in recognition of 37 years of ABATE of Illinois Incorporated and over 352,318 registered motorcyclists statewide, and in recognition of the continued role Illinois serves as a leader in motorcycle safety, education, and awareness, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2024 as Motorcycle Awareness Month in the City of DeKalb and urge all motorists to join in an effort to improve safety and awareness on our roadways. Can I get a round of applause for Motorcycle Awareness Month? As a motorcycle rider myself, I can't say enough. Definitely always look, always pay attention. Too many tragedies have happened because people haven't taken that one moment just to pause and make sure their surroundings before they turn are truly wide open. All right, I have another proclamation, and we have someone in the audience that will help receive it after I'm done. But this is celebrating Link Smelzer, Kishwaukee Symphony Orchestra conductor. So in celebration of the exceptional achievements and dedication of Mr. Link Smelzer, it is with great pride that we acknowledge his musical journey. Whereas in 2003, Mr. Smelzer was appointed as the conductor and music director of the Kishwaukee Symphony Orchestra in DeKalb, Illinois, embarking on a transformative journey with the orchestra that has continued for 2 decades. His remarkable leadership led to a well-deserved recognition in 2009 when he was awarded Conductor of the Year by the Illinois Arts Council. Whereas in addition to the Kishwaukee Symphony Orchestra, Mr. Smelzer is the conductor and music director of area youth orchestras, NIU Symphonette, thank you, NIU Sinfonia, beautiful, and the Rockford Symphony Youth Orchestra, nurturing the talents of young musicians and fostering their love of symphonic music. Whereas in recognition of his invaluable role in music education, Mr. Smelzer has been enriching the lives of student cellists and pianists through private lessons offered by the NIU Community School of Art since 1988, and his dedication to education extends across the Midwest as a faculty member of both the Chicago Suzuki Institute and the American Suzuki Institute. Whereas Mr. Smelzer's virtuosity as a cellist has graced numerous stages, where he has appeared as a soloist with Camerata Chicago, the Kishwaukee Symphony Orchestra, the Illinois Valley Symphony Orchestra, the NIU Philharmonic, and the Rockford Symphony Orchestra. Whereas Mr. Smelzer's dedication to the Chicago music scene is further exemplified by his membership in the Grant Park Symphony Orchestra cello section since 1992, and where he has also been active, he's been an active substitute with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra since 1997, amassing a wealth of experience, including embarking on his 12th international tour with the symphony. Whereas the City of DeKalb commends Mr. Link Smelzer for his unwavering commitment to music, education, and the enrichment of our community's cultural tapestry. It is with great anticipation and heartfelt appreciation that we propose a special proclamation in honor of Mr. Smelzer on May 4th, 2024, coinciding with the last concert of the Kishwaukee Symphony Orchestra's 47th season. Therefore, this proclamation seeks to recognize the profound impact of his musical contributions on our community and to express our gratitude for his tireless efforts in the world of music and education. So I, in witness thereof, I have set my hand and caused the seal of the City of DeKalb to be affixed this 22nd day of April 2024 in celebration of Mr. Link Smelzer. Can I get a round of applause? And since we have someone to receive this, if council wouldn't mind, if we can go down and get a picture taken, because I believe tonight he is conducting? Yes. So you're going to rush out of here and hopefully be able to present this to him and the entire orchestra tonight, which would be fantastic. And we'd love to memorialize it by doing a quick photo op with you, if you don't mind. Wonderful. Thank you very much. You bet. Have fun tonight. And I know you guys are busy, so yeah, feel free to take off. All right, then moving on to number 3, DeKalb Police Department 2023 Annual Report. Chief, the floor is yours.
Might have to bear with me. I'm losing my voice a little bit, but I'm going to get through this. First of all, it's just an honor to be in front of you today. City Council, City Manager Nicholas, everyone in attendance, and of course the great residents of the City of DeKalb. So it's my honor to represent the DeKalb Police Department today. I'm going to give you a summary, like I said, of the annual report for 2023. This is a robust report. It's about 60 pages long total, but I'm going to give you a short and hopefully concise with my voice summary of the services that the DeKalb Police Department provided to the great citizens of DeKalb in 2023. Before I begin my summary, I have to thank a couple of people. So the chief's office is very small when you talk about the administrative staff within the chief's office. So it's myself, of course, and then you have the deputy chief, Jason Leverton, who was in the crowd behind me, and then my administrative assistant. We could not do what we do without her. So I really have to give her a round of applause, Melissa Knabloch, because she put this report together for everyone. And it, like I said, it is thorough and it is robust and it tells you exactly what we did in 2023. So thank you for that. Also, we have in attendance, Commander Lakis is also here from the DeKalb Police Department. And like I said, just very excited to give you what I think is a great summary of what we did in 2023. All right, so we'll start out with a little crime data. So just to give you an idea of where we are in regards to violent crime. In 2021, we had confirmed 48 shootings. All right, so a confirmed shooting means that there's a crime scene, there's evidence that a shooting actually occurred. So that could be visual, that could be a video someone provided to us, or actual physical crime scene that we have located. And when I say we, the DeKalb Police Department, sworn personnel have located a crime scene, meaning shell casings, a firearm, or some other evidence that it actually occurred. So we had approximately 48 of those in 2021. As you see, it decreased in 2022, 29 shootings confirmed in 2022, and in 2023, there were 25 confirmed shootings. Now, let me also specify, it does not mean that someone was actually struck. That means that someone fired a firearm at some point, whether it was in the air, whether it was actually at someone. We get a lot, of course, as you can imagine, on New Year's Eve. There were a substantial amount of calls of shots fired during that time, which is consistent throughout every year around on December 31st into January 1st of each year. So if you look at year to date, just to give you an idea of where we are in 2024. So at the same time period, in 2021, we had 7 confirmed shootings. In 2022, there were 9. In 2023, there were 9 confirmed shootings. As of today, in 2024, we have 4 confirmed shootings. Adult arrests. So, as you can see in COVID, in 2021, we were just almost coming out of COVID, but really still involved with the COVID process. So, there were about 1,560 total adult arrests. We did see an increase in 2022, but in 2023, we saw a small decrease in adult arrests. So we're extremely happy about the decrease. We hope to see the same thing in 2024. So I think we're on a downward spiral there, at least from the first 4 months of this year. I think we're on pace to see that decrease, but we'll just have to see how this plays out. Juvenile arrests. In 2021, there were 122 juvenile arrests. In 2022, we saw an increase of 151. In 2023, we saw an additional increase of up to 166. This has been a problem for us, and we're very concerned about it. We've had numerous fights, even in the last week or so, with juveniles actually fighting directly outside of this building. So we're doing our best to work with District 428 to come up with a strategy to reduce the fighting between students in school, out of school. I mean, as you can see, those numbers are pretty high, and they are on the increase. So we're going to do whatever we can possible. We do have the Compass program in place. We're working extremely hard there. The SROs are working extremely hard within the framework of the school system to do their best and to mentor the students and to hopefully reduce the number of juvenile arrests that we have in 2024. It's going to take, like I said, it's a collaborative effort between the DeKalb Police Department and, of course, District 428. So, and then let's not, you know, at the end of the day, we can't leave out the parents. I mean, they're responsible for their children. Some of these arrests, I think we spoke of in the past. I'll say it. I believe in this. You know, when I grew up, my mother was responsible for all of my actions as a juvenile. I still believe that's the case now. Parents have to be responsible for their children. We need to hold them accountable as well as to the behaviors of their child. And so hopefully with the Compass program, we can do that. We're going to work extremely hard between the 3 facets, the PD, school district, and of course the parents, and try to reduce this number. Violent crime. So violent crime in 2021, which was still a COVID year, 263 total. We saw a decrease in 2022. It went down to 209. And then in 2023, we're at 163. So, like I said, the first 4 months of 2024 has been extremely promising. And I expect to see a decrease there in 2024 when I come back here a year from now and give you the annual report for then. I'm very encouraged. I really am. I think the high visibility that we've added with the numerous additional officers, and thank you to the city council and the city manager for helping us do that. We could not have done that, of course, without you. But that presence, that law enforcement presence is a deterrent. And I'm hoping that we will see that in another reduction in violent crime in 2024. So here's a breakdown of 2023 violent crimes by zone. Zone 1, there's 114. Zone 2, there's 24. Zone 3 is 22. And then there's an unknown. So this is probably outside of our actual DeKalb city limits. So it could be a call where we went into the county and handled a case outside of our boundaries. So one of the things I will say that there's a direct correlation with call volume. We have more calls to services on one than the other two zones, and it is reflective in the numbers. Murder. So we in 2021 we had 3 murders. Of course, in 2022. We had 1 homicide, and then in 2023, we had 4. You know, like I said, in 2024, we're sitting, we have not had one, and I hope that stays throughout the rest of the year. That's the only number that is acceptable in this category is 0. I think we all can attest to that. That's the only number that is acceptable. Even in 2022, that 1 was someone's life that's lost. So in that concern, if we can stay where we are for the rest of the year, I mean, that would be a win for the city of DeKalb and also for the DeKalb Police Department.
And I'm encouraged too, Chief, if I remember right, in 2023,
Yes, sir.
the last murder that we had was May of 2023.
Yes.
So that's been a significant time frame, which hopefully our hope and prayers go to 0, but we're definitely on track on a long period of time at this point with that.
Agreed. And like I said, the only number that's acceptable
Yeah.
is 0. So here's some crime trends. So here's some of the crimes we see on the decline. So sex offenses, ag assaults, robberies, thefts, motor vehicle thefts on the decline. No matter how minute it may be, it is if it's on the decline, we can be encouraged by that and hope that in 2024 we see that same decline with the amount of resources that we've added. I think that's what we will see. The second slide we got to worry about is what crime trends are on the incline, and we have to do everything we can to turn these around. So, assault, burglary, drug and narcotics violations, and trespass. So, due to some of the aspects of the Safety Act where there is a lot of catch and release, there are opportunities for offenders to commit secondary crimes, so we do see an uptick in trespass because basically we're catching them and releasing them, we're giving them a notice to appear, they can go back out, of course, and commit another crime, which adds to our stats because we're basically rearresting the same person maybe twice in a day. So that's unfortunate. It's a byproduct of the Safety Act and the conditions that within that act, and we're feeling some of the constraints from that. So I did want to talk about technology. I know there was a lot of questions early on about the automated license plate reader system when we first initiated here in DeKalb. People were worried about a lot of things that were never, that the system is not built for. It's not built, it's not a red light violation camera, it's not a speed camera. We're not going to stop you if your plate comes back suspended or if it's expired, if your sticker is expired. But what it has done, and I have a couple of cases I wanted to speak about specifically. So on November 22nd, sorry, that's a typo, it should have been 2023. There was a subject wanted for homicide in Aurora, Illinois. Now, this subject hit the license plate reader, his registration, we had a hit on that. So at that time, the DPD communication dispatched, they monitored the LPR system, they sent out a dispatch that this vehicle had indeed crossed into the DeKalb city limits, and basically exactly what he was wanted, or he or she was wanted for at that time. So, of course, officers responded. Specifically, Officer Vidoni was able to locate this vehicle shortly after the LPR hit. When I say shortly, I mean within minutes of the vehicle hitting the LPR and actually getting a positive hit, and our officers attaining the location, locating the vehicle, and then shortly after that, a short foot pursuit, and then the subject was apprehended based on the license plate reader system. So this is extremely, important because, this occurred in Aurora. Now, if without the license plate reader system, we would have had to hope that, and you're looking for a needle in a haystack, that another officer would have saw this vehicle, conducted a registration check on it, and then found out everything that we knew about this vehicle. But the license plate reader gives us eyes where we don't have eyes, and this is the effect of that. So I felt like it needed to be shown how important that the license plate reader systems are in the city of DeKalb and the effect that they are having on the city. We have a protective net over the city, and this is part of it.
Jeff said it's gone in and out a little bit.
Okay.
I think it should pop back. He warned me of just this.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to rely on you back there, Jeff, to tell us if we need to punt or just to hang on. I see searching at home. We all pray this leads to connectivity when we see it.
I have a question.
Well, we have papers, so I can always go there. So.
Yeah.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm just curious about the kidnapping and abduction statistic here. And so I'm wondering, in what I thought typically that is it's usually like a family member or something of that nature. Can you speak to that a little bit? Because it's like 8, and I'm like, oh my gosh, are those just random children and random people taking them, or is it familial?
So there is a significant amount of parent-to-parent situations like that where that a parent does not have actual custody, and they're taking, of course, their child and without permission from the actual, biological parent or whoever that parental custody parent is. We did have, there was one case where there was a kidnapping, and it was a gentleman who was actually going state to state, and we were able to apprehend him. Now, that was actually it was not a family situation. He was a predator, and he was going state to state, and we were able to apprehend him. And believe me, there were crimes that he committed, as far as Texas. So and he ended up finding his way into DeKalb, and we were able to apprehend him based on our individual case, which I'm sure, like I said, developed in other cases in other states. So we actually got a very dangerous person off the street with that arrest. But to be more specific about your question, there are a lot of parental issues and where they are committing basically a kidnapping because you're taking the child without their permission. So those are, some of those numbers are that. But like I said, there was one specific case that I do recall where we did have an actual predator who was seeking, young ladies and taking them by force, committing sexual acts with them, and not just in our state. So, which was, like I said, which was very, to me, I talked to the detectives about this case. They were very proud of this case because of that reason, that they knew he was a predator and he was harming people across the states, across this country. So we're very proud of that one.
Yeah. So. Can you continue without the?
Sure.
Okay.
So There's a second case I would like to talk about in regard to license plate reader and the safety cameras and how effective they've been. So in April 11th, which is just a week ago, so in 2024, we had a license plate reader hit. It was a stolen vehicle, but it was wanted in connection to a homicide in Chicago. So this just shows you how far, you know, that the LPR system is stretching. So the communication gets a hit, they push out the information, officers respond. Specifically, Officer Ball-Smitty and Officer Duzick locate the stolen vehicle, and then shortly after, they apprehend the driver who, like I said, at some point was wanted in a homicide in Chicago. Now, we don't know specifically if he committed the homicide, but that vehicle was at the scene of the homicide and was involved. So, all based off of the license plate reader hit. We got the location, we were able to respond quickly, ascertain the situation, and actually apprehend a subject. And of course, Chicago police then responded to DeKalb, processed the vehicle, and then their investigation is ongoing. So we hope that what we did here in DeKalb is going to affect them in a positive way in Chicago in helping them solve a homicide. So just another situation, incident that I felt like it was prudent to express to not just you, but to all the residents of DeKalb, that how effective that the license plate reader system is in our city. And it's not what they initially thought it would be. It is exactly being used for the purpose that it was intended for, which is what these two cases show you.
Awesome.
So I did want to talk about some of the things that we were doing within the community. I think I got it back. Which is perfect, because they're, well, maybe not.
Jeff, if you could advance the slide, that'd be great. Maybe, maybe not. All right. Just go, Chief.
All right. Well, so one of the things that we've been doing at the PD, and I wanted to express, not just to you at City Council, but I want the residents to see it, and these are photos. Oh, there's some. If we could get them up. But basically what we're trying to do is we want to build a bridge. And to me, and I call it a Uni Bridge of DeKalb. This is a unity bridge. That means we're working extremely close with our community activists, Break Room and Friends, Black Ink, Opportunity DeKalb, the Belonging Council, I mean, just the Park District. So we're all working together in a unified front to build this unity bridge. So that's what we're doing. As you know, we reach out to Safe Passage. Very important that we have a collaboration with them, which we've been doing. The school system, of course, building bridges with the school system. When it came to this past summer, we started our first year of Fun Jam in the Park. Huge. It was a great, just the whole summer was just full of you're talking about trying to build bridges, you're trying to talk about unity. We were building unity with our community every day when we attended this Fun Jam in the Park. The kids loved it, the parents loved it. And we're looking forward to this year, and we're gonna build on that and make it even better. So another part of the bridge that we're building. Every year, when it comes to, let me see if it'll work. Oh, there we go. So this is part of Fun Jam in the Park. Just to give you an idea of what it looks like. I mean, I don't know what Deputy Chief Leverton said to her, but whatever it was, it really made her laugh. So, but these are the connections that we're making, So I really just wanted to see some photos so you can see in real time what those connections look like. Okay, well, lost it again. But even going forward, when you talk about some of the things that how we're trying to impact the community. I mean, every Christmas, Heroes and Helpers, I mean, we affect over 100 kids every year with that program. 100 kids come into Target, We take them on a shopping spree. We do it every year. Pay it forward, which is dear to my heart. I started this with the Illinois State Police in 2016. I've been doing it ever since. Every year, $3,500 we give to strangers that are residents in the city of DeKalb. $3,500 every year. And this is money collected from DeKalb Police Department officers, friends of us, all our friends, family, they all give to this because they understand what the true meaning of pay it forward is. So we've been doing that. Just as recent as yesterday, we had the pancake breakfast here in DeKalb. We raised $5,600, all to go to Deputy Musil's family. I mean, we had a crowd out the door. I mean, I know my eggs were that great, but it was good to see him out the door. So we had a great time. Ma'am, thank you for your support. And so I just wanted, this is all to build this unity bridge of DeKalb. And everything that we do, when I say we, DeKalb Police Department in conjunction with all our community partners that we have, we're going to continue to do that. And it's going to continue to build this bridge that we need here in the city of DeKalb. And like I said, the rest of the PowerPoint was just some pictures just to give you some idea of what we were doing. But I think you get the gist of it. So at the end of the day, we're going to work extremely hard to continue to make the city of DeKalb the safest that it can be. I have to give thanks to every member of the DeKalb Police Department. They have done an amazing job, amazing job. The 3 years that I've been here, I tell you, I'm amazed at how hard that these officers work, the dispatchers work, our civilian personnel, just an amazing job across the board, and I'm just really, really proud of them. And I'll just open up for questions.
And I assume, for everyone in the audience and those listening at home, this presentation, I think, is part of our actual council packet, but I assume it's also going to be on the DeKalb Police Department's website as well. For
yes,
everyone
sir,
to
we
be
can
able
put
to
that
view.
on there.
Fantastic. Council, questions or comments? Yes, Alderwoman Zada.
I have two questions, Chief. So
Yes.
the first is the license plate readers sound like they're working great. My question is, do they not have them in surrounding communities? Is it just like, or did all the bad guys come through DeKalb?
No, no. Look, I hope that the number of officers that are traveling up and down the streets of DeKalb, I hope is a deterrent. So I would tell you that is not the case. However, yes, we do have surrounding Sycamore. They have license plate readers as well. Now, some towns, have not decided to do that yet, and I don't know if it could be financial. I'm not sure why their reasons are not having it, because it's a force multiplier for you. Like I said, it gives you eyes where you don't have eyes. But Sycamore, of course, they do have license plate readers. Actually, I just was told that even Lowe's has license plate readers. So just to give you an idea, it's not just law enforcement. There's homeowners associations that can buy them as well. And of course, the Illinois State Police have license plate readers. They're going to put up some license plate readers within the city of DeKalb, but it has to be on a state route. So we will get additional LPRs that we will not have to pay for that'll come through the state of Illinois on those routes as well. So that's only going to broaden our net.
Great.
You have a second? Yeah.
And the second question is in regard to the pool being closed this summer. Is the police department considering doing anything a little differently to, increase the engagement? I know you guys did a great job last summer,
Yep.
but, with kids without things to do, I get nervous.
No, idle minds, right? We know what that looks like. And at the end of the day, we have already met, when I say we, the collaboration for Fun Jam in the Park, and we're trying to come up with as many ideas as we can to actually help do exactly what you're talking about, is to give them something to do on a regular basis. So, Fun Jam in the Park, we did at a tempo of twice a week for the most part. But we did have some other events. We had a couple of water gun fights that we had. You got National Night Out, which is every year in August. So if we can come up with some other ideas, we will definitely do that. But you're right. with the pool being closed, I mean, there are going to be a lot of idle minds and children wanting to find something to do. So we would do everything we can to add to that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Sir.
Yes, Alderman Perkins.
Big thanks, Chief, to you and your staff for everything you're doing. Look, there's a lot of things that are going in the right direction. I have concerns and questions about the data as it relates to the, I guess it would be the Northwest area and the youth things. If you look at those statistics, they're going up and going up rapidly. So how do you, process-wise, how do you guys determine corrective actions for what you're going to do, and then measure success, and then take reactions to those steps? Because I'm looking at the numbers, and there's no sign of a decrease. You know, they're going up and going up quickly.
Well, in some cases, yeah. But I mean, as I showed you, there are some crimes that are on the decline. That's across the board.
But I'm just
But I-
specifically
With
the
kids.
ones that are going up.
Yeah, so,
You know,
To
and
your
I know
point,
there's collaboration with the school
correct.
district. You know, there's a lot of complexity with that.
very much so. And we call that area Uptown now, just so you know. So, I mean, we're trying to get that for everyone to pick up on that. So, Malia Jones, who is a community activist in the area, she said, "Chief, that's Uptown now." So every time I get opportunity to say it, I'm gonna carry her torch for her. But to your point, one of the things that I'm really excited about is the new elementary school. The only reason why I say that is because this is going to be more than just a school. I mean, there are going to be other opportunities from having that elementary school in that area. You know, I mean, I think we could be able to engage more, to be honest with you, just because of that building alone. So I'm hoping to really see some positive effects from that. But one of the things we have to always be careful is, well, we don't want to over-police. I mean, we don't want to over-police an area like that. But I mean, I personally, you know, I've never seen that actually is going to give you a positive outcome. I've said it over and over again. We're never going to police our way out of this. I've said it. I know some people have issues with me with that. I will stand on that with all 10 toes, because I've never seen that work in my 35 years in law enforcement. But what I have seen work is what we're doing now, which is the collaboration. I mean, we're working with our landlords, we're working with our community activists, we're working with the school district, with everyone putting in their hands and getting in and pulling up their sleeves. How can we get better? And one of the things, to your point, and like I said, I talked about the juvenile arrest. It's alarming. You're 100%, but we have to be able to hold parents accountable for the actions of their children. Like I said, and I've had discussions about this, and people will argue with you about that, but my only question to them is, if we're not going to, if the parent isn't responsible for the children, then who is? I mean, if you can give me an answer to that, you know, I would love to hear it. I mean, I've always been responsible for my 3 children when they were juveniles. And if, you know, if they did something, believe me, it was a knock on my door, and I handled that. So I think there's a part of that we still have to explore and do, and we need to build that bridge as well. So we can get a reduction in juvenile arrests, juvenile crime, batteries. What we don't want is to have them all end up in juvenile detention. I mean, the fight we had over this past weekend could have easily ended up that way, where we had a juvenile going to juvenile detention. In this case, they were still able to be turned over to their parents this time. Next time, it probably won't be the case, if there is a next time. So I'm hoping that the parent has opportunity to try to right the ship, straighten their child out, kind of show them where they're going wrong, so they won't get that next arrest, because the next arrest is going to put them in juvenile detention. And that would be sad, because we're trying to give them an opportunity to fix, what's wrong. So, but, Alderman Perkins, I can't wait to see what the school's going to do. And I know in some people's eyes it's just a building, but it really isn't, because we're going to be able to have access, we're going to be able to communicate and connect with Uptown in a whole different way now, because that's where the kids can actually walk to school now. And even that, just that alone is gonna change things, you know. I'm hoping that just that whole process of not having to get bused 15, 20 blocks or whatever the case may be to a school, when you can just get walk out of your house, walk across the street and go to school and be a part of something that's in Uptown. So,
I hope that increased presence will help too, really do.
I do. I've said this, and you will see it in the annual report. I stand on that. The presence of law enforcement is a deterrent, and it's just one piece of it. But it is, the fact that, and the SROs are doing an amazing job. I can't talk about them more. I know early in the year we had them here, and they expressed to you some of the things they're doing, but they are being extremely impactful. I mean, they know, it's amazing, but they pretty much know every student in this area. You tell them who they are, and you give them a picture, they'll say, that's so-and-so. And they'll know exactly who they are. I know their mom, I'll call them. You know, and those are the connections that I would rather have that happen, to have them call the mom and have a conversation than us have to deploy a police officer and take them into custody. So hopefully that will be the future in that area, sir.
Good, sounds good.
Yep.
Thanks.
Any other comments or questions? Appreciate the report, Chief.
Thank you.
A lot of hard work going in. Make sure you pass on our appreciation to your entire team, sir.
Will do.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Chief.
sir. Yep.
All right, moving on to agenda item E, public participation. We have one. Ms. Martinez, please. And as a reminder, you have 3 minutes.
First, the council knows I want my anonymity, and as a victim, I have a right to anonymity. The recorder knows words matter. I want the minutes to accurately and truthfully reflect what I am reporting. That because, for instance, Mayor Cohen Barnes, the DeKalb City Council, DeKalb City Attorneys, DeKalb Chief of Police David Byrd, and the DeKalb Police willingness to abuse their positions of trust by their criminal actions and/or inactions, allowing what I, an Hispanic victim of intimidation and a witness of intimidation, am reporting at DeKalb City Council meetings to be treated as a non-issue and be covered up. I, an Hispanic victim of intimidation and a witness of intimidation, am being vilified and ridiculed for having to come out since February 12th, 2024, repeatedly, and this many times to DeKalb City Council meetings without both independent investigations and independent criminal investigations ever taking place or even being called for. Just from February 12, 2024 alone shows minutes being manipulated and falsified by the recorder, and also a timeline where there are clear red flags and a clear pattern of misconduct, criminal conduct, and intimidation of witnesses, such as myself. Timeline also includes the DeKalb City Council meeting of February 26, 2024, where the DeKalb City Council broke the law to further intimidate and silence me as a witness, with Mayor Cohen Barnes, only after I had the courage to come back, deliberately misrepresenting to the public that I was spewing hate, and not that I was a victim reporting crimes against Hispanics, which the city still has not officially addressed. There is precedent that city managers have been investigated before. The remedy to this situation is that it's in the best interest of everyone involved to have a finding of fact with both independent investigation and criminal investigation, which this council and the city of DeKalb are preventing from being conducted or even being called for. Again, they should have already been provided and should now, without any further hesitation or delay, be called for in good faith and not continue to be denied because our race is Hispanic. Thank you.
All right, moving on to agenda item F, appointments. We have none except the May 13th. I will have my recommendation for council on 5th Ward alderperson. At the same time, we might have a slew. I've got a stacked up line of other appointments to make. So May 13th, I think, is going to be a great meeting to be able to move forward on a lot of this finally, which is going to be exciting. Moving on to agenda item G, consent agenda. Number 1, minutes of the special city council meeting of April 1st, 2024. Minutes of the regular city council meeting of April 8th, 2024. Accounts payable and payroll through April 22nd, 2024 in the amount of $3,141,482.12. 4, Freedom of Information Act FOIA Report, March 2024. 5, Resolution 2024-038, authorizing the approval of certain executive session meeting minutes. And 6, Resolution 2024-039, adopting the City of DeKalb's whistleblower protection and anti-fraud policies. Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderwoman Larson, seconded by Alderwoman Zazada. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Verbeck,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zasada,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes,
Yes.
7-0.
The consent agenda has been passed. Then moving on to agenda item H, public hearings. I'm going to call the public hearing to order at, is this 6:45? Regarding the 2024 revised annual action plan, one-year use of funds under the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG program. Is there anyone from the public that wanted to speak on the CDBG money? Hearing none. City Manager, did you have any comments?
No, just that because now we know what we're getting from the federal government once all the procedures are followed, which actually is a reduction from last year. Now we can fine-tune the actual action plan with the most accurate numbers.
And additional information can definitely be found on the City of DeKalb's website on this. Council, do you have any questions or comments? Hearing none, Alderman
I guess
Perkins.
I do have one. City Manager, any insight into why the reduction? And is it standard did everyone, all the communities experience about the same level of reduction?
I can't generalize. It's a federal program. I wouldn't hazard a guess why HUD has, and it may be beyond the state of Illinois. I really don't know. But
Okay.
we saw a reduction, we've seen a reduction a couple times in the last 5 years. And so it's a program that needs to be shored up. It's a very popular program. It helps those in the greatest need. And it's where we hope there will be some commitment going forward.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:47. There's no roll call or anything on a public hearing, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, moving on to agenda item I, considerations number 1, consideration of an NIU Foundation update on the status of the Greek Life Center. How do you want to?
I want to introduce,
Yes.
what I'd like to introduce is Catherine Squires, who is the Vice President for Advancement at NIU, also the President of the NIU Foundation, and she's got an exciting summary to present to us.
Well, with the consideration, I still need to bring it to the floor, correct?
Yes.
So I would take a motion to bring this consideration to the floor.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Larson. Awesome. Would love to hear everything that you have to say about this.
I don't know if
It's
I
an
can tell you
exciting project.
everything, but I'll give you an exciting update. We're
Awesome.
thrilled to be here. First of all, thank you all for allowing us to come visit. I know you have a very robust agenda, so I don't think we're going to take too much of your time tonight. But we are here to talk about an important next step in our journey to develop the Center for Greek Life in the Annie Glidden North neighborhood. The purpose of our appearance tonight is to communicate to the council and to the city manager our readiness to purchase the parcel in question, upon which we plan to construct the Center for Greek Life. We know that you have this item laid out in your materials and hope you've enjoyed seeing some of the renderings and some of the descriptions of the property. So we just want you to know how much progress we're making. As you can see by the drawings, quite a lot has been going into what the concepts might be for this building, which we're very excited about. And in parallel, we've been doing what we call a donor feasibility study or a market sounding study. We have a number of very generous Greek alumni, and of course, talking to all of them and getting them excited about this project takes a bit of time, but we've been now socializing the concept for this building and showing some important renderings. I think the mayor was present at Tugs on Saturday and got to see probably a giant poster-sized drawings of the concept of the building. So we're excited to begin to show to our community these exciting plans and getting them excited about potentially supporting the project. The university, as we mentioned probably in a prior meeting, is in the early planning phase of a comprehensive campaign, a fundraising campaign, which will be for the university overall. These are large, comprehensive activities that often take many, many years. But this project, the Center for Greek Life, will rise to the top of what we're calling a university level or a marquee project. So it will be one of several major projects that will hold out to our entire public, not just our Greek alumni, for consideration in their fundraising priorities. So the next logical step in the process is to talk with you about purchasing the property. And so I think that's the main message we wanted to deliver tonight, is that we feel we are sufficiently ready to take that step and would ask for the council's consideration in enabling us to do so. So,
City
thank you.
Manager, any elaborations there?
Yeah, before you leave, on the back of an envelope, we want to draw the the exact area. Really, we don't have that much to do from here. First of all, let me back up. I'm delighted to hear that, and I think we all are very pleased with the progress that has been made through the Foundation's very dedicated efforts, and Catherine, thank you for that. Thank you, Matthew, also for your contributions to this on behalf of the administration. So we're at that point where we see some renderings. Farnsworth Group, a very highly regarded architectural firm which is based in Lisle, Illinois, has created those renderings after a lot of consultation with the Foundation staff and also through them donors that have shown interest. So we're at that point where we can begin to define very clearly, we're not ready to send the surveyors out there yet, but to the points that we need, the area that is needed to make this happen. There's just one little gray area. There probably is going to need to be at the far north end of the city's property, further north than what you see in the rendering here, some kind of a general retention area, and we'll help define that, and then that will help the Foundation to define what the metes and bounds are of the property that they need, and then we go to the technical steps of getting it surveyed and shaped up on plats and on a plat, and bring it to you for approval after the Foundation, of course, has considered it and talked about it. So this can be done in short order, not tomorrow, but in the very near future we can get this done. And so we wanted to bring this to you tonight. If you like that path, that's what we'll follow.
And coincidentally, I was at 2 events in the last couple of weeks, one with City Manager Nicholas, where we had dinner with about 50 members of the 4 councils for Greek Life at Northern Illinois University, and the excitement in the students around this particular project and what they saw, the impact that's going to have on Greek Life overall, not necessarily for them, since a lot of them will be graduating, but that idea of legacy and the excitement of how this could help transform Greek Life, and the excitement about how Northern Illinois University is truly leaning in on this particular element. There was a lot of excitement. Then also at Tugs, it was great to see a lot of alumni come out to that event, which, by the way, if you don't know what Tugs is, you gotta Google it, you gotta see some of the videos, and you gotta come out next year, because it is just an exciting event. But there was a lot of Greek alumni from the 90s, the 2000s that are coming out, who are coming out to support Greek Life, but then also they've got kids that are now Greek as well. And I heard many of them talk about their commitment. They were there last year, and their commitment this year was to come again and bring a friend. And there was a larger number of Greek alumni also coming out, and they were excited to see the rendering. So it's neat to hear the students, it's neat to hear alumni talk about it. And then for me, it's great to see, after all these conversations, we really are starting to move forward on raising the money and then constructing a building like this that I think is going to be transformational in Greek Life overall at Northern Illinois University, but I think it's going to be transformational for that entire area in Uptown, right, Chief? I think it's going to be fantastic. So, yes, City
Just
Manager.
very quickly, I also was at Tugs, inconspicuous as I always am. And
Bill was not in a suit.
I wasn't. Nobody
So you can
recognized
believe
me. So we were within a stone's throw of what is depicted as the parking lot here, because the Tugs are held, have been the last couple of years on the city's property at 912 Edgebrook, and we're happy to continue to do that going into the future, but there was much conversation about how nice it is to be enlivening that whole area, 5-block area or so. And I was excited to see that. I also saw the large rendering, and people were talking a lot about that. Students, faculty, alumni, and the like, so.
Council, Alderwoman Zazata.
You know, it's hard to say it, but I feel that I must, that amidst all the merriment here and all of the support from Greek Life, that I don't believe that this project aligns with the Annie Glidden North Revitalization Plan, and I feel like the majority of residents in that small area are very much going to feel forgotten by this project. I understand I'm in the minority in this, but I just would be remiss if I didn't note it.
There are, I don't know how many hundreds, if not thousands of students that live in Uptown that are part of that neighborhood. I didn't know if either of you two could comment on the engagement maybe of Greek Life within the community itself and how that's a priority, and maybe Northern Illinois University in general as well.
Yeah, Alderwoman, I certainly appreciate your point of view, right? I mean, we've talked a lot about, there's a lot of needs in that neighborhood. You know, the university's always held that our biggest single way that we can help revitalize that neighborhood is to revitalize our Greek life. Revitalizing Greek life in that neighborhood isn't that's not the end of the story though, right? There's gotta be more investment, there's gotta be more services. That's not the university's role, but we really feel strongly that we can contribute to the revitalization of that neighborhood. The other thing, I think we talked about this when I was here, gosh, I think it was last summer, right? You know, we get excited about the opportunity to engage with the children in that neighborhood, to have them come and be part of the center, whether that be after-school programs, whether that be tutoring, whether that be social events that we can have in the event center, those types of things, right? So I think that, you know, we certainly will make sure our Greek, you mentioned Tugs, right? Every year we raise money for a cause. There's no reason why we can't be raising money for causes in the AGN area, so.
And they are local causes as well,
Yep.
every year. Any other comments or questions, Council? Yes, Alderman Perkins.
So what does the timeline look like for what and when? And it's great renditions, great stuff, but.
So you're not going to like
and
my
I know
answer.
it's nothing I'm going to hold your feet to the fire on, but just real generally, you know,
So-
by 2040.
Well, hopefully sooner than that. To overuse a golf metaphor, fundraising is a long game. And I think we are we're on the early few holes of maybe 36 holes. I think we don't know as much as we need to know about how to answer that specifically, but I think we're engaged deeply in the activity right now that's going to inform that answer. The more people that we can show these drawings to, the more people we can get excited, as you all did at Tugs, and we're doing literally one alum at a time, gets us closer to knowing that we have enough capacity, that we have enough affinity for this project to meet a specific timeline. If it might take us a little longer than some other project, because this is a constituency that hasn't, been as engaged over the years as we'd like them to be. I think that's the work that's happening right now, which is really important work. We're reconnecting, re-engaging, re-exciting alums from decades and decades ago that haven't really thought about Greek life or their NIU experience in ways that we can turn them right back on. So it takes a little time to cultivate that interest back. I'm extraordinarily optimistic that we're making the progress that we need to, but it's very hard to put that into a timeline that gives you the specific answers that you're looking for. All I can tell you is we're deeply committed. The architectural significance of this building is one indication. Matt himself is leading a fundraising team. We have Jeff Liesendahl, another one of our alums, leading a different fundraising team that's made up of alums. And the best way to make progress is just to keep being an advocate for this project in every quarter. That's the power of being a project within a larger campaign, or as a university, we're doing this around many, many needs and projects. And so it's not specific, but I can just tell you I've been doing this kind of work for a very long time, and the momentum that is needed to do a successful project like this is more than there. So I think we should keep coming back and giving you updates. I think you deserve to hear those updates. As we know, more information to inform a timeline, we'll come back and tell you.
So from my perspective, you know, we've had, it's taken a lot of work and heavy lifting to get to this point of being able to do something with this property. And we're talking about a sale of this property. So to me, before I can get behind any sale or transition of the property, I'm gonna need some more details on what and when, you know, and I know it's early in a long process, but, you know, I think that's fair. So,
Well, I think all parties have talked about too, that, you know, a certain clawback, just in case something doesn't materialize, the
Right.
property can revert back into City of DeKalb hands. But a reminder too, I think it was almost 3 years ago today that we initiated the raising, let's say, of Hunter Hillcrest. 3 years. And here we are, still mowing a lawn. But it's great that.
Exactly. That's
but
kind of
it's-
my point.
I know, but it's great that we actually have progress made to the point of talking about actual purchasing, stroking a check to purchase that particular land in order to show the commitment that Northern Illinois University has in this project. I'm excited, but I understand exactly what you're saying and agree. Alderwoman Larson?
I hear some of the other concerns, but I remember when I was in college, and I lived at the corner of Greenbrier and Russell in 1973, that it was Greek Central. I mean, it's been Greek before a lot of other things. And there's still a piece of the property there for development. But let's also remember, with the recession and everything, nobody's beating down our doors for that piece of property. So to have something that I think will benefit a large group of students that can use support from the university, that are trying to get into college as being the first one in their families, I think that's a big deal. And to have, you know, you can't go and say to your mom and dad, well, what was it like when you went to college? They might not have even been in this country, much less have an education in the college level. So I think it's really important, and I think that's another way of revitalizing and supporting an area. And while we might still have a bunch of grass to mow, it sure looks a whole lot better than what was sitting there before. And so if we have to mow for another few years till we get what's right that's there, I'm willing to wait and get the right thing. And so definitely supportive of NIU being part of that.
Mayor, may I ask a question in
Yes.
behalf of the council? Catherine, you had opened by saying that you are pleased to report the foundation's, quote, readiness to purchase the parcel. So I think we're talking about two different things here. One is how long will it take to define the level of the alumni and donor interest in building a building of some description. Here's a concept, it may change somewhat as the fundraising process begins. But I think we're talking about, prior to that, or at least from here, working collaboratively to come up with a sale agreement, a purchase and sale agreement. And then you have the land, and we can talk about at some point, or not, whether there is some time limit to that something should be done or not. But that's a debatable thing. There are pros and cons of that. But I am encouraged by that, and I support that idea to work that out. It shows that makes the commitment more than a promise. It makes the commitment very tangible, and it puts it into real estate, which is about as, forgive the reference, earthy as it gets.
So you're looking for some sort of consensus from us. Do we want to move forward?
Yes.
With the purchase
With
agreement?
the sale, yeah, with purchase sale agreement.
Yeah. I'm sure, definitely be reaching out to Bill to express some of your consideration or concerns, so we can figure out if there's language that might be able to get us through that.
well, and I guess I'm not as, I understand the clawback language we can put in here, but I think the plan is great, but there's no high-level goals. You know, there's nothing that says we want to do something by, and it is just a plan, you know, and I understand that it's just a plan, but I think it gives, it improves the level of understanding for all the citizens of DeKalb on what and when we're targeting doing something. Because frankly, right now, we don't have that. We've talked about a consensus that we've built, and we're collaborating and working with. And we've got some great pictures, but I'm concerned about the next level of plan.
Well, I think,
And I know it's hard to do, but, you know, I think that's reasonable, is to say, here's what we're targeting doing. And it's a plan, I get that.
yeah, and I think maybe the next time you all come before us, when we're actually talking about the transaction itself, they've engaged Peddleton, is that right?
Pennington.
Pennington, thank
Pennington.
you. A professional fundraising firm that is specifically contracted to Target to be able to go after the funds that are going to be required for this. I think part of the reason why we're not hearing more about that is initially, want to get the architectural renderings, want to know that they're going to be able to purchase this property. With those key things in place, now the firm can engage and start engaging alumni, getting a better understanding of how long this time frame might take, what the
That's what I'm talking about
Yes.
with the firm. So they're gonna have some level of experience on saying, you know what, for a project of this nature, generally, it's going to take about this amount of time. And those are the details that I'm kind of looking
Yep.
to say, well, what does that look like, you know?
So I would think there's going to be some information to share at some point in the near future, maybe, with them?
There will be.
Okay, all right, great.
And I'm supportive of this.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
but I've been in-
Hearing you.
Been, you know, an NIU alum and want to see it all go. I just like to see some more meat on the bone for what and when.
Absolutely. Any other comments or questions? So, hearing that, I know we have some that aren't in support, but overall, do we have a majority of council that would like to have Bill spend more time and pursue what an actual transaction agreement would look like with Northern Illinois University? Okay. Seeing at least 4 or 5 heads nodding, Bill, so
Thank you.
6 head nodding, yep, okay.
Thank you both.
Appreciate you coming out
Thank you very
tonight. You don't need to stick around. I know you two are exceptionally busy, so go raise some money, go get some plans, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you for coming out. All right, moving on to our second consideration, consideration of a limit on the number of retail tobacco stores in the city of DeKalb. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Verbeek, seconded by Alderman Walker. Real quick, it was in our background, but we have had this conversation about tobacco stores, just like we've had it about liquor stores, just like we've had it about video gambling. What do we want in our community? What do we want our community to look like? And we do have say over that. We can make those decisions on what is the look and feel and the type of businesses we want in our community. That's the beautiful thing about America. We have that ability to start defining that. So based off of the back and forth that we had with council, figured it'd be a good idea that let's just have a conversation about tobacco stores and see where we sit, so we can give staff some guidance on if there's something we would like to pursue. I guess I should have asked for a motion to bring it, oh, I did. Yeah, we're good.
You did.
Yeah, city manager.
Yeah. Just real quickly, and then I welcome the council dialogue on this. So we're talking about a couple of things where tobacco is sold in our community. We have a classification called the retail tobacco store, and that was what that one store was looking to retain in the junction back in January. But there are 5 that qualify, and all those 5 derive more than 30% of their gross revenue from the sale of tobacco, and the other criteria is that more than 25% of their total floor area is devoted toward the display, storage, or sale of tobacco. So it's serious about selling tobacco. But we have 29 other stores that sell tobacco behind the checkout counter and so forth, not by the carton, by the pack of cigarette and so forth.
Every gas station, you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. So, first of all, it would be helpful if the council would identify what it is we're looking to control, which one of those, or both. And then, what is your pleasure, basically? Because we follow your lead on this. The licensing is pretty well wrapped out, what needs to be done if you are one of these categories. So, I just brought it back. I was asked to bring it back. Here it is.
Who would like to start?
Well, I guess everybody knows
Alderman
this is
Walker.
mine, if you don't mind. Can I?
No, go for it.
Well, everybody knows I'm not really a fan of any of these smoke shops. And the biggest thing, I guess, city manager, and I'm not saying this is your fault, so you know, but I just really don't understand why we have, I guess, 3 that could be considered walking distance, to each other. I guess, I'm not understanding that. Number 2, I guess I would be one that would just want the cap at where it is right now. Because, although once you're 18, 21, you can do whatever you want to do, but we do have a very serious problem with vaping, period. These are kids that have these biggest issue. Hell, I'm seeing people that work with the issue, they're trying to get off of it. So, no, I can't change the world, everyone tells me that, and nor am I trying. I would like to do whatever I could do that is morally right to try to kind of get kids away from those type of activities or doing those types of things. And no, I don't think that, that would be the only way we can do it, but I honestly do think that's a start, and we have to start somewhere. So that's my thinking, and I honestly would want to put the cap on 5. I know we can bring business into DeKalb, but not all money's good money. Like we said last week with not putting the sandwich and liquor store on, the corner of 4th and Taylor. So that opened my eyes to this as well. So I just believe that we should put that cap on that and, go from there.
How do you feel about the non-retail tobacco shops, like the people who sell the,
Like gas stations, you're
gas
saying, right?
station or whatever?
Yeah.
Personally, I don't care anything about tobacco items. If we just took them all off the shelves and threw them all in the water somewhere, or just burnt them in a pile somewhere, that's where I stand, and I stand on that. Like Chief Byrd said, 10 toes down on that. I stand on that one.
So I think maybe your question was, do we want to cap that as well?
I would,
And it
yes.
sounds like you're saying yes, but then I guess to me, what I think that brings up, and sorry to speak out of turn maybe, but what that brings up is, I think of it from an economic perspective, the economic challenges there. Like I'm okay with capping the grouping at 5. I don't see like it's not adding huge value to the community, right? But if we were to have other gas stations open up and they couldn't add tobacco, then they would be at a disadvantage to the other gas stations. That's my only hesitation.
I think it caused a lot of confusion if you walked into a gas station and couldn't buy a pack of smokes. Yeah, right. And that's, I think, US-wide gas stations and cigarettes are kind of synonymous, it seems like. But I agree, if we talk about tobacco stores, that's what we could have a real conversation on right now, especially. Regarding tobacco stores, other comments or questions? Yes, Alderman Berbert.
Alderman Walker, I agree with you, and that's a lot of the calls that I receive are, how do we just simply ban vaping products from the city of DeKalb, sales of vaping products? What does that look like for us? Is that something that we can overcome?
Wow.
Yeah, there are some forms of regulations that you can have on what I'll call liquefied tobacco.
Right.
Is that something that you want us to look into in terms of a full-out ban?
Well,
Please.
we'd
Yeah.
have to talk about that, because now you're talking about, we could tell people you can't drink alcohol, you can't, that would be, can't dance. You know what I mean? Now we're really going into what is allowed and what isn't, as opposed to like capping. We're gonna limit. I mean, this is America. People do get the opportunity to go and buy things and live their life the way they choose. I don't know if I would be completely in support of let's line item a particular item in our community. Alderman Walker.
No, I totally get what you're saying, but one thing, and there's been studies about this, this vaping is more addicting and worse for your lungs than, so I mean, like I said, we as the DeKalb City Council can't change the world, I get that. However, we all have kids in the area, we all help take care of other people's kids in the area, and yes, I'm thinking as a father with morals and values, and I'm thinking, I don't want any of my kids and their friends hooked on this. So, yeah, I mean, like city manager says, we can kind of make our own, home rules here, and I just think that's a step in the right direction. No, we can't cap, the gas stations that are selling cigarettes. Hey, they're doing it now, people do that, oh well. But, however, I think we can somehow kind of push kids away with, at least starting to cap these places that, let these kids vape and go from there.
Well, let's, and we can continue that part of the conversation, I'm not squashing it. Let's have the conversation about tobacco stores first.
Yes, sir.
Let's narrow that down and give the city staff a recommendation on where we want to go from there. And then we can expand the conversation into, next would be gas stations, and then next would be, do we want to eliminate vaping altogether? So, Alder, did you still have a comment on that, or are you going to wait till?
No, I would agree with capping the number of smoke shops as discussed, and continue to discuss, do we reduce it when shops close, for example? But would like to proceed on discussing a ban of
Alderwoman
vaping
Larson.
products.
I agree with Alderman Verbeek. I would cap it at 5, but I also hear what Alderwoman Zazada said, that I believe that if we have it in gas stations, then that's the right of even new gas stations, because you can't start keeping track of who's grandfathered in and this and that. So I would do that, and yeah, I'm against vaping too, but does that come from here? Does that come from other legislation?
Yes, Alderman Perkins.
So process-wise, I guess let me back up before I dig into that. But thanks to city staff for pulling this map together. I'm kind of visual, and having it all right there in front of me, it helps me understand the issue a little better. Now, process-wise, as a council, we approve all of these that come in here. So to Alderman Walker's point, I think looking at this, and you've got 3 of them there within walking distance, and a 4th one, I think process-wise, we could deny any one of those at any point in time without a cap. Business-wise, I have concerns about putting a cap on something that restricts business when we have the ability to deny a 4th one down there in Alderman Walker's neighborhood. I think that's good discussion for everyone. But in terms of placing a cap on it, I don't agree with a cap. We're talking about a legal activity that the market can restrict. If DeKalb's market is robust enough where people want to partake in tobacco, I don't. But I have a tough time putting an arbitrary cap on it when the market may be saying it is good. But I do agree with the thought of saying in each individual area, we approve every one of them. So we could theoretically say no to no more without having to put a cap in, so to say. So a cap, I don't agree with, but I do agree with the thought of restricting some in areas that are frankly saturated.
My only concern about the everyone that comes forward, any smoke shop could rent, enter in a lease, go through this process, assuming they're going to be able to have a smoke shop, since, I mean, it's legal and it's in the city, we don't have any ordinances against it. And then it makes it a little more arbitrary, which is always a concern of mine, that we're going to judge whether someone gets it or not based off of the quality of their presentation at council or based off of city staff's recommendation.
Yeah.
I'm always,
Yeah, I get that.
it opens up, but
It opens a can of worms.
Yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying.
No doubt, but I think city staff can, in that process, they can share what the climate.
Yep.
They'll be intimate with what the climate has been and what our discussion has been and any of those other things. Now, does that put them in a bit of a slippery judgment slope? Sure it does, yeah. And that doesn't, we're not doing them any favors in that respect.
Yeah, and going back to the just express how I feel about, we can set the tone of our city. I mean, strip clubs are legal. We could have 4 liquor stores on each corner of Annie Glidden and Hillcrest, Lucinda, Hillcrest. Hillcrest, yes.
My concern is to a degree legislating morality. Because we are, and this is I'm not even gonna say, go down
Sure,
the 180
yeah,
path.
yeah.
But we are to a degree legislating what morality is, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, and I see it as, we already have 5, so we're not legislating
Sure.
morality. We allow smoke shops in our community, in fact, not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
And you can buy smokes any gas station, things like that. Just trying to make sure we don't become the county's one-stop shop for smoke shops, would be my concern. What other comments or questions on shops? So I've heard a little bit of mixed. I heard Walker, Vervick support limiting the number of smoke shops. Larson, I would say I'm in that camp. Smith, Zazada, Perkins, I already heard you. Just trying to give them a little guidance on, do we want them to pursue, oh, sorry, Alderman Burke.
And maybe to Alderman Perkins's point, it's a limit per area. Mayor, as you touched on it as well, so if you look at it ward to ward, for example, that saturation point, maybe it's not 5. And again, I agree, we shouldn't be legislating morality, but again, to Mayor's point, which you make over and over, which I appreciate, as to what do we want for the city of DeKalb.
Yes, Alderman Zazada.
Yeah, and I appreciated the response you made as well, Mayor, to Alderman Perkins' statements. I agree, I don't want to legislate morality, but I do see that we do have 5 smoke shops, and in that context, and and I really like and respect the free market, but also when we are community developing, it's really important that we set the tone of what kind of community we're trying to build, and perhaps if our population grows substantially, then we consider like, oh yeah, we can make it a 6th smoke shop. But I think that, we want to make sure we're making room for more productive businesses to be part of the community.
Alderwoman Larson.
Okay, I kind of picking from both of your statements is we are DeKalb, but there are neighborhoods. I mean, you get into the university. Is it any wonder that 4 of those stars are really central to the university? It's like when we had a hookah bar. I mean, where was it? Down by where they were. How many fast food drive-thrus? By the university. Is it any wonder that 2 liquor stores side by side can survive? Oh, they're right in the middle of the university. That's those demographics. Now, are you going to go to a residential area and put in 4 smoke shops and figure you're going to have enough business? No, that's not the demographic of the area. So maybe in some ways let the power of the marketplace decide if they can have 4 there, they're surviving. If 2 liquor stores can survive side by side, and then worry about if we think it's going to be an outlier, that if we think it's right idea, wrong demographics. I don't know, but I can see your point about the market determining.
Alderman Smith, not to put you on the spot. Putting you on the spot.
But I'm really open for the free market to let determine it. I'm kind of curious of how that much is being sold to support 5 retail operations. I mean, realistically, looking rent, et cetera, you're probably looking at $250,000 per place to even make it per year. I mean, would that be unrealistic? So I'm wondering how much another one could even support the operation. And the other thing is, I mean, Sycamore doesn't have any constraints on it, so someone could jump across the border, across the city, and go over there. I'm kind of leaning towards Leamington, as much as I hate to say it, but
Okay.
that's where I'm at.
No, that's great.
I can't believe that 5 can make
Right.
that much
So
money.
I'm hearing that we all have enough waffling, so maybe we just let this one slide at this point. I mean, I'm only hearing 3.5, maybe 4 in support of limiting. And I don't want city staff to go through a bunch of time and energy and they bring it as an ordinance and we vote no. Thoughts on that? Because that's what we're trying to do is
I think
limit
if
their
someone
exposure.
approaches us, that's a different.
Right.
I just don't see it economically being feasible with the current economic situation.
So you're saying the market is probably self-limited is your point?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my
Could
thought
be.
is.
Yeah, I don't, yeah.
Because if you think, sorry to interrupt, but if you think historically, if you go back to, and I'm at the risk of dating myself, you go back to 1980, 1975, where were these smoke shops? Ralph's on the corner of 7th and Lincoln Highway. There was another one, Luoma's in downtown. Those are more newsstands, but those newsstands were kind of the same thing as smoke shops.
Mhm.
And the market
Well, they thought it was healthy back then.
adjusted that, right, right. We probably could have been smoking sitting right here.
Right. So is everyone comfortable with that? If we just, okay, so we let it slide, that's what I'm hearing overall. And we can always address it again in the future. And it is correct, if a new smoke shop comes, that will come before council, that license though?
It'll be a special use.
Is it? Okay, all right, perfect.
Which will come before.
Yep, just want to make sure. Okay. City manager, that give you what you need?
Yeah, and a special use has to go through the plan commission.
Mhm.
So if you've already got two in close proximity and somebody says, I want to go right between them,
Yep.
you'll say no 1,000 times no.
Yep.
So I suspect.
And I don't think staff had a dog in this hunt, this was us.
No.
Okay, all right. All right, moving on to agenda item I3, we have some public participation on this. This is the downtown special service area. I'm gonna call your name. As a reminder, you have 3 minutes to speak. I have to hold everyone to those 3 minutes. So the first speaker request I have is Bobby Hayes.
Thank you. I'm Bobby Hayes. I'm the co-owner of Barb City Bagels at 118 East Lincoln Highway and Robinson's Bookshop at 218 East Lincoln Highway. The small business and property owners in downtown DeKalb have contributed to our community with little to no financial help from the city of DeKalb. Through continued donations to schools, clubs, and other organizations, as well as through the events we have created and held for the citizens, we have borne the cost, effort, and time to make these contributions. Yet, this council, unable to balance its budget, has decided to penalize these small businesses and property owners through this excessive and punitive downtown special service area, which in realistic terms is nothing more than a tax on small business. You all have decided to make an attempt to scratch back monies to make up for portions of your own budget shortfalls. I find it very interesting that those persons putting forth this measure have desired to protect their own reputation in anticipation of a future run for mayor. You've decided to maintain secrecy of your name by not allowing it to be announced or attached to this measure. The question becomes, if this is such a noble measure, why not proudly announce your name? Why not proudly attach your name to the measure? I suggest you're not announcing your name and you're not attaching it to this measure because you recognize, as all of us in the small business community do, that it is nothing more than a shameful measure and a shameful attack on small business in downtown DeKalb. In fact, it's not just shameful, but it's harmful. It is one that will do damage to downtown DeKalb. It is one that will do damage to small business in downtown DeKalb. I hope that you all recognize that this type of an assessment is going to cause small business and property owners to either close, sell, or actually leave downtown DeKalb. I have personally spoken with multiple business owners. I know of no less than 5 businesses that will close and or leave downtown DeKalb upon such an assessment.
Thank you, Bobby. That was your 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Just so everyone realizes too, it's a consideration, and a consideration procedurally how it is it's something that just comes before council, so we can have a discussion, give everyone the opportunity to be able to speak. An ordinance hasn't been written, none of that's happened. And also for the record, I'm assuming, but I don't know, but I'm not the one who brought this forward when you said mayor. So I just want to make sure this is not,
I don't think it's you, Mayor.
Okay, I just wanna make
That's
sure,
not
'cause-
me.
yep, yep.
You are not the one I was addressing.
And also, to be clear, I did not bring this forward whatsoever.
Hey, well, since we're doing it, me either.
all All right, so moving on to Matt Duffy. Matt, are you here? There you are. And Matt, a reminder, you have 3 minutes, sir.
Okay, I'm not running for mayor either, just in case there's any confusion there. Mr. Mayor, city council members, city staff, and members of the community, good evening. My name is Matt Duffy, and I'm the executive director for the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce. I want to begin by commending the incredible work you've done fostering a business-friendly environment within DeKalb over the past few years. Your dedication and efforts have undoubtedly contributed to the vibrancy, growth, and success of our local economy. However, I must express my concerns regarding the proposed implementation of an SSA within our downtown district. The implementation of an SSA would impose an additional financial burden on these businesses. These additional taxes can be particularly challenging for small businesses, startups, and those operating on narrow profit margins. In a downtown DeKalb made up of these small businesses and entrepreneurs, such financial strain could stifle the momentum gained recently. This is the opposite story that's being told when we celebrate the recent reduction in property taxes. We asked the downtown businesses to deal with additional struggles such as downtown construction and road closures, and now we're seeing improvement, and they're added a tax which offsets these positive gains. Additional separation of the downtown to the rest of the city could also lead to an unequal distribution of resources and benefits within the downtown area. Businesses located within the SSA boundaries may receive enhanced services and amenities, while those outside of it may feel neglected or overlooked. The definition of downtown DeKalb is already one of contention, and this disparity could foster resentment and division within our community, undermining the collaborative spirit that has been instrumental in our downtown success thus far. Furthermore, the introduction of an SSA may deter prospective businesses from establishing themselves in our downtown area. The prospects of additional taxes or fees could dissuade entrepreneurs and investors, ultimately hindering economic development and job creation. We have some openings yet to fill in downtown DeKalb, and as we strive to attract new businesses to our community, it's essential to maintain an environment that fosters innovation, entrepreneurship, and prosperity. Empty storefronts in the downtown area shows the opposite effect of the work that you've done recently to make DeKalb the place we all want it to be. In conclusion, while I deeply appreciate the City Council's commitment to enhancing our downtown district, I urge the Council to dismiss the consideration of an SSA. Let us continue to prioritize collaboration, inclusivity, and sustainable growth as we work together to ensure the continued success and vitality of our beloved downtown community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Duffy. Lauren Woods. Lauren?
Oh, I'm going to pass.
Okay. Leslie Conklin.
Hi, my name is Leslie Conklin. I have 3 things that I have here. I own my building, I have a store in my building, and I live in my building. So I am a landowner, I am a shop owner, and I am a resident, all at 153 East Lincoln Highway. So I get to see a lot of things. I see everything that goes on at night. I know everything that goes on at Stanley's. But I wanted to go, they said a lot of what I said. We struggled a lot through between all the construction, between the new buildings, between the roads being torn up, between the sideways turned up. Then we had COVID, and we have stuck it out. And it's not just the small business owners. You know, these landlords and the people who own the properties, they have tenants upstairs. I know I'm one of the tenants. I live upstairs, I know my neighbors, and if these taxes go up, their rents are gonna go up too, and these are about the last step of reasonable rents. They're still $800, $900, and they're gonna pass those right along. So I don't even think I need to say a whole lot more about our small businesses and the landlords down there who do a great job trying to make these affordable housing. But I will just really quickly address the way this was written, and I won't spend too much time. But this, when I started to read this, I realized that there was going to be assessments every year. They're kind of arbitrary. They would be very hard if somebody was going to come in and open a business or buy a property. These are very arbitrary. You're going to do a levy every year, and they're going to be updated by the observations of downtown conditions. Who's observing? Who's observing the conditions? And who comes down and says, oh, I'm observing? One of the things I think that whoever brought this forward, I hope that it doesn't go any further, look to the property owners to make sure that they tell the people how to get rid of their garbage, where to park. There's other things we can do to decrease the costs down there. And because I live down there, I will tell you that we can save money on snow plowing. Those boys, I love them. They're like little toddlers out there with their snow plows. It does not take that long. They almost take up the bricks. They almost take up the bricks. I know, they start at 3:30. I live there. I have videotaped them because I'm like, what are they plowing? There's no more snow. So I think we can look inward to places that we can cut some costs. It does not take 4 city workers to water 1 flower bed. So I think we can look other places to try to save, and as a community of downtown people, we'll try to make sure the garbage is better monitored, so our expenses. We can try to water if we have water. We don't all have water. So I think we can find other ways to do this other than to take it out on the people who I feel have stuck it through thick and thin. Now I think you think it's thick, and now we're expected to pick up that bill. So I would like it to not come any further, be done here, and not even be proposed going forward. Thank you.
So City Manager, you want to start us off, and then I'll definitely go to Alderman Verbeek afterward.
Sure. I was asked to serve this up for
yes,
conversation.
you're right, this is public comment, sorry.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion to bring the consideration of a downtown special service agent area to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by Alderman Verbeek, a seconded by Alderman Perkins. City Manager.
Just a few things in case people didn't get a chance to read the background. What is this? And Leslie did a pretty good job of describing it generally. And so what are we talking about? We're talking about an area, just for the sake of conversation, which runs roughly from 1st to 7th, and then from Grove to Locust. And it would be up to a process that has to be entered, which would involve property owners and the city council to define whether it's on both sides of 1st, both sides of 7th, and all the rest of that. But just looking at sort of the inner boundaries of 1st to 7th, Grove to Locust, we're talking, and we have a precise number on this because our GIS manager went and took the time to look at all the parcels, their EAVs from 2023, not yet the 2024, obviously. So there are 188 parcels in that area. There are 29 that are parks, city parking lots, and so forth that will exempt out. So we're talking really about 159 parcels. And when you add up the total EAV value of now that's a third the value of the market value of those 159 parcels, it comes to about 16 million plus or minus. 16 million. And so if you want to know how this system works, and putting aside for a minute whether we want to do this or how we would get to that decision point, and obviously there's a process for that which is detailed here, I threw in just a plug number that would be the cost, 100,000. That doesn't mean a person or 2 persons. It involves, this was just focused on maintenance. Not anything, not building anything downtown, not building a parking garage or any of the rest of that. $100,000 that would be SSA. That's the largest SSA we've ever identified, and that's in Market Square, and that was for the streets in Market Square, the public streets out there, or they're not exactly public, but let's say the highways and byways that take you through there, not the parking areas. Talking to our public works folks and city engineer and so forth, they thought if you add up everything that is done every year to keep the downtown looking good, from striping to snow removal to street sweeping to and not counting the downtown refuse contract, but just picking up papers and all the rest that gets blown around, the repair from the plows that ding at the corners, the curb and so forth, brick repair and the like, that's probably a low number, but it's a number. And if you divide that by the 16 million, this is how that works when we talk about levies, then you come to a number that is more than half again as much as a small, and this is a very small shop. If a shop is only, say, has a market value of 300, this is a building downtown, $390,000, a third of that is 130,000. So that rate times 130,000 came to about half, a little more than half again as much as what the actual base taxes are owed on that if there was no SSA. So we can play with the numbers. We can say that maybe that maintenance idea is too small, too large, but we can't play with the EAV. It is what it is. It's what's reported by the county record, so we know what that part is. So what? So do we do this or not? It's been done in other places. It hasn't been done here. Do we want to do that? That's what's before you tonight, whether we go any further, because there is a process prescribed in state statute, which I just generally described in your background. And if you want me to go through it, I will, but I'm not going to detain you in that. And that has to be done. There are public hearings. And ultimately, though, here's the key consideration. If 51% of the property owners sign a petition and say, we don't want this, then it's done. 51% or more. If less than that do, then the council imposes it. This is what we've done. We've got half a dozen SSAs in town still. A couple of them are in subdivisions that never had homeowners associations, and homeowners were willing to tax themselves to take care of entryways and cul-de-sacs that nobody was mowing on a religious basis. Also, we have Market Square, I mentioned. We have a unique one at Ridgebrook on the northwest side, and that's how that goes. But we haven't gone to look at a commercial area and do this. And as it was said here tonight, obviously, this is one of several large commercial nodes in the area, and it would be taxed and others wouldn't be. Also, the tax, it's a regressive tax in the sense that not everybody pays the same, right? If you're smaller, you pay a chunk. If you're larger, you pay a larger chunk, but it's not the same. It's not a flat rate across all the parcels. It's based on what your EAV is, just so you know that.
So there hasn't been anything secret about this either. Everything's foilable. You can email. You can find out the discussion that brought this before us. I don't think I would be saying out of line. This was Alderman Verbeek's, something that he wanted to bring back so all of us as council members could discuss. So with that, I'll lead it off with you to have you share your perspective on why we're talking about this today.
Great, thank you, Mayor. Yeah. Well, about 2 years ago, we were having a public discussion just like this, and we were talking about the great new work we've done downtown, how it looks fabulous, so on and so forth. And business owners came to me to say, this looks terrific. How do we keep this going? How do we keep it looking this new? How do we keep performing other projects downtown, so on and so forth? So I brought the suggestion, we mentioned it just in passing to council. And what I would say to all of you is that back in August of 2022, when this was first suggested, it's been a while ago now, the process that I had envisioned was this would come to council to discuss parameters. Certainly not a 0.625 multiplier that you see in the document. I look at other communities like Montgomery, Illinois. They use a 0.003 multiplier. This is a group of downtown property owners, businesses that like to put on events. So how do we fund those special events? How do we fund more parking long-term? We just went over a couple of year discussion, or not a couple of year, but a long discussion about the consideration about purchasing a building downtown to create more parking, which property owners and merchants wanted us to do. They support more parking, which I understand. But should it always be the entire city of DeKalb supporting the costs to grow parking downtown? Or if this is dollars that the property owners have a voice in using, this amount of money that I would see would be the voice of the owners, the voice of the merchants. We want to have more special events. We want to have more planters. We want to have more beautiful landscaping. How do we get there? So it was asked of me by property owners and others downtown, how do we get there? What are our tools? And certainly you've seen us utilize TIF for improvements downtown. Sorry about all the construction and all the disruptions that caused, but I believe that that's truly important progress downtown, and I believe truly that it's bringing more people downtown, including out-of-town people. So how do we keep that going? What voice do you have? What would you like to see for the Central Business District? Do you want to put dollars, a little bit of dollars, not this, but a very small fraction of dollars toward the goals of businesses downtown, property owners downtown? What would you like to see? It shouldn't just be up to a city council. It should be up to a collaboration of all of you that have invested in DeKalb, and I would like to hear more about that from you. So I'm sorry that this process, I'm sorry that this process took place in this manner. My preference would have been that it come to council first. We talk about the parameters, ask our city manager to go to you to say, here's the parameters we've set forth. That didn't happen. You met with the city manager shared one concept, but that's not what this person had in mind, and it's not what this council had in mind. So in the future, we should have, again, a council discussion about the parameters and how do we get there. And are you even interested? That's what we need to know. Thank you.
And I think in real quick, the city manager's, I guess, defense, we talked about we wanted a SSA brought forward. He's always going to do research. He's going to provide examples to give us an idea of here's the cost of what a downtown, the labor and the time and energy we're putting in.
But present it to council first. Don't go to the merchants and say, well, you know, here's what we're looking at and blah, 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 blah. We need to give that directive to the city manager as to how this is presented and what are the options that we would like you to consider.
If I may,
Yeah.
so I brought it to the council tonight, but the people who will be paying this are the people who are in the audience. Informally, it's once a month after the first meeting of the month that the downtown merchants gather and talk about matters of interest to them. And downtown maintenance has long been a matter of interest. And so it was a conversation, and it was another informal conversation. Things don't happen in a literal way. They happened at the same time. So here I am with just a proposal, not etched in stone, based on some objective information about what the value of the property is downtown, and which is a key piece of calculation in a SSA, but also based on consultation with the people who know the best, or public works people who do the work downtown, and I came up with that number. It's not a plug number, it's not a rate, it's an actual number divided by the value. And so that was a starting point for discussion tonight, and that's how it actually unfolded. This is a council that meets in public, and I'm glad that people are here from the public to talk about it.
Alderwoman Larson.
Okay, so I'll cut to the chase since it's about a consideration. DeKalb depends on every one of you store owners. You are DeKalb. You are why people come to this town.
Thank you.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And we have worked so hard over the last few months to get our property taxes down. Why in God's name are we looking at a tax for anybody else? We wouldn't, this just goes against everything that we've worked so hard to get everybody to have a few bucks left in their pockets at the end of the day. So I can't go, and just one more thing, because I know, I probably have these names wrong, Back of the Alleys, the Cinco de Mayo, a lot of those are all put on and started by small business owners. You're already doing that. And so I hear you, and so there's no way I could vote for 1 penny from you guys, because I think you have literally are all in with your life savings to do the jobs and your businesses. I get that. So I
Alderwoman
would say
Zazata.
no.
And I'll just echo that. I think that government is for the people, by the people, and that's why you all are here. And I would only want to do this if this is what you wanted. And so, especially from the response that we've had tonight, you know, no one spoke in favor. I don't imagine anybody's in favor in the audience. If they were, I imagine you would have put up your comments. So with that, it's very easy to let this be and understand where you all stand.
Alderman Perkins.
Since we're just talking about this SSA concept, I know what I've seen here in my time, and even preceding me, the SSAs are more where I've seen it, where we have an issue, like we have out at Market Square, where they're not going to do something with the parking lot, and they need something above and beyond what the normal taxes they pay. They need a mechanism for planning for the parking lot. I guess my question with these SSAs and the thought of if the downtown folks did want something, can these things, can you kind of use it like a savings account? Can they roll over year, or do they, we've always used them as more of a budgetary tool where, you know, it comes in each year, and like, I've got one in my neighborhood to maintain the cul-de-sacs and the light fixtures. So the thought is every year it's used and then it disappears. Can it be used as a mechanism,
so-
if we wanted to create one to build a parking garage downtown?
An example, it's,
And it built over
yeah.
5 years,
So parking
7 years,
garages,
whatever.
let me just tell you, 20,000 a space. 20,000 a space. 10,000 a space maybe if you're on the ground and you're just building an open air parking lot. 20,000 a space, and that's conservative. So you're not going to build a park unless
We'd have to save
you
up for
have
that.
such a
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
downtown.
Right.
You
But
have
can you
such-
roll these over
Yeah,
for several years?
But let's use one of our examples. So the Market Square streets were in terrible shape. There had never been an owners association. There were cross easements to allow people to go from one store to another, but that was about the extent of it. A mistake. Probably should have had that. Even if we had, the original developer was out of the scene and it's been parceled off, so it still wouldn't have helped. So we took the chance. We thought there's no way we're going to succeed with this, but at the time, the clock was ticking. We got through the required period and everybody was invited to a public hearing, and less than, I think there was one owner that objected, but not enough. So we went in there the next year, and the levy was $100,000. That covered the streets. We weren't involved in fixing private parking lots, just the roads that took people to and from those parking lots. And then the next year, we didn't need that much. We needed maybe 10 or 15. Now, we kept a little more in there because there was still some more work to do in the second year. So we have a fund there now. And so, yes, it's true. You don't have to do this every year, but you have to start with something. If you don't have enough ideas to fund, then you shouldn't be doing this. What is it you're trying to do? What are you going to do with the money? The store owners have plenty of uses for that money, so of their own. So what I put out to you is just as an example, what it would take, low-hanging fruit, the annual maintenance, if that's what you want to do. Let's say you don't want to do that, then what do you want to do? And what's the annual nut on that, if you will? What's it going to take to accomplish that? And I didn't know what that might be.
But it could be used as a saving mechanism if we want to. What's that? Short answer is no.
Can't roll
Okay,
over at all.
that was my question, it
You
is
mean
more
for
of an
some other
annual thing
purpose?
where
Yeah.
you tax it and then spend it, basically.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to have something.
Got it, okay.
In the law, they call it, there has to be a nexus between taking and investing.
Even
Got
if
it.
it is something 5 years out, you've spoken for, you still can't save those funds for that.
it would be more difficult.
In good
Yeah.
faith.
Okay.
You
I
want
was
to
just-
fix something because
Spirit
it's that
is
urgent.
spend it or lose
Yeah,
it.
I was just curious on the
Yeah.
process
Yeah,
and
no,
and
that's
how
good.
it
I didn't know you-
worked. Yeah.
I thought you could save it, so.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions?
Yep.
Alderman Walker?
All right, so I guess I'm gonna be the good Samaritan on this one. First off, you, these ladies are like my big sisters. I'm making no, I'm not gonna act like we don't know each other and we haven't been close over 20-something years. When COVID hit, I was feared for them for a lot of reasons because, like I said, I've known most of these women before I even had kids. Now they're almost 23, so I guess I'm not really in favor of trying to take more money out of their pockets, definitely. But I do want to say something, Mrs. Coughlin, you kind of alluded to the city workers and how they do things. Well, I kind of got to disagree with you on that because.
I love them.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I just.
They know we love them.
Okay,
We tell them every day.
Okay, I just want to make sure,
Yeah.
because those guys do a hell of a
They-
job, because I
they're
see them all the time, and Andy Ray has, been on those guys, and I think they've been magnificent in some of the work they do. I just want to put that on record, because I really respect the job and the work that they do, and I let their boss know, all the time. And I think, honestly, Alderman Burbix, his heart was in the right place. I think we probably went about it a little different. I think, and I can't speak for him, but I honestly can think that he loves how DeKalb looks, and he wants to keep it up to par. He wants that, and maybe we didn't go about it the right way. However, I do believe his heart was in the right place. I just think that maybe going forward, we can maybe, go about it a different way without trying to take money out of your pockets, because I definitely like getting my free suit jackets from Ducky's. But no, I just want to say, hey, I don't care that the cameras are watching. I love you guys, always have, and we appreciate you for sure.
And to echo that with the city manager, his heart's in the right place, where he's got to give us a discussion point to start talking about. So, any other comments or questions? For me, I'll chime in full disclosure. I'm a downtown business owner, a property owner. My business is downtown as well. An SSA, I could see it sometime in the future. And I think it'd be something we all might get to a point where, if we think Cinco de Mayo right now, I know Chris and the El Jimador team are driving that with many of you downtown merchants as well, trying to figure out how can we have an event like that. And funds are needed to be raised to all those things, where maybe having a fund balance that's available to fund events could be, and I'm just talking here, right? Could be we want to have more art, we want to enhance, we want to something, whatever it could be. I could see an SSA, but as City Manager Nicholas mentioned, 51% of, or 51% of the
51% to sink.
owners have to agree to it. So it has to be something that'll come before the public, and not overwhelming, but a majority of the owners would have to agree to something like that. I just think it's way too early. We're not there yet. I know you all you've struggled through multiple downtown revitalizations. I know you all, it's not just because you own a downtown business, you turn on this money faucet and it just pours out. I know you all are working hard to be successful and to provide your own part of the DeKalb experience, kind of thing. So I think I'm hearing consensus here that this dies in this conversation. Maybe a few years from now, when it's lollipops and rainbows and that water spigot is spitting out dollars, we could have that conversation. But right now, from what I'm hearing generally with council, is probably not moving forward. Alderman Burke.
Yeah, and I think I would not have brought it to council had I not had conversations with downtown business owners and property owners. No, I necessarily didn't speak with you, but to the mayor's point, they like the idea of having that voice in, again, we went through a period where we did improvements years ago. Some of those improvements started to wear out, and I had heard comments about, well, how do we prevent the good work we do from wearing out and us never catching up and having it new like we like it. So it was a conversation among a number of people. I brought it to council again going on 2 years ago, just as a conversation, but I appreciate you stepping up and explaining as to why that's not good for you now. I really appreciate that.
So, Alderwoman Zazada.
Also, just want to note, there is a TIF district there as well. And so I just bring that up because the structure of that has different uses. I know it's not intended for small-time uses like this, but that also impacts the way that the overall taxes for the entire city come into funding. So I think that's important to note. Also, I want to say just thank you all so much for coming out. I do want to note that our phone numbers and our emails are public information, so especially for those of you who didn't want to speak today, you know, in the future, if there's anything that comes up, please feel free to reach out, call, email. I answer all calls. So I would have loved to hear in advance, like, oh my gosh, don't do this, Carolyn. Or if you can't be here, you know, that's all you got to say is let me know what you're thinking, and I will listen. And I believe that all the other council members and the mayor do as well.
So with that, thank you all for coming out. You don't have to stay. Nothing else on the agenda has anything to do with this. So go run your businesses, enjoy your downtown. And again, thanks for coming out, everybody. See you, Tom. All right, moving on to number 4, consideration of an amendment to Chapter 7. Oh, what? Oh. Amendment to Chapter 7, Water Service, Section 7.18, Water Rates, and Section 7.18-6, Water Service Fee. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Alderman Perkins, seconded by Alderman Vorbeck. We're at 5, we're still good, so
Yeah.
let's roll.
Well, you're a
What?
quorum, but you've got 2 out there. There we go.
Yeah.
So I'd like to talk to the whole council if I may.
Okay, we'll wait.
Yeah.
All right, now's the time. If you're gonna go, go.
Now's it.
Getting good jokes.
Not appropriate here.
They don't include city
But they
business.
can't tell here.
I've been listening to a lot of dad joke videos on Facebook. There's just 3 guys that sit there blind and they tell just dumb
Dad
dad
joke.
jokes. Sometimes I'm just at tears. And I can't remember any of them. That's what drives me nuts.
Right.
We didn't have enough. Oh, sorry. That's okay, no, and then Tracy left.
So I think Roma Gunze is gonna look good in the Bears uniform.
City manager, you have a full council before you.
As full as it gets.
Okay, so this is serious as well, and it's that time when annually we pause and take a look at the water system, and our Assistant Director of Public Works, Brian Favor, is golden in that respect, because his decades of service in our behalf in maintaining and expanding where necessary the water system as you've directed, has to suggest to you what we might need for general operating purposes to get through the next 12 months. And usually if there is to be a change in the water rate that falls on our users, that's usually put in place on the 1st of July. So we're at that decision point. The factors for you to consider are these. First of all, the water system is an enterprise fund, like our refuse fund, like the airport. We're supposed to be able to fund that, not to draft off of a reserve and to budget in a deficit manner. We want to meet what our users demand, and we need to have money set aside for the maintenance of the system, which is extraordinary. The assets of this system, which are mostly underground that people don't see, but people see the water towers and they see the treatment plants and so forth, are tremendous. And in your budget, you get a feel for that every year as we go through that. The cost of living ups and downs of the last 18 months or so impact that business. We have to buy materials, we have to pay wages and benefits. We have to maintain, like I was saying, what's not seen. And the CPI has been our marker at the council's direction for the last many years. And there was a time until 2 years ago when the council, when the code said that the council had approved that we would just reflexively increase our water cost by whatever that CPI is. It's the CPI for the Chicagoland area and northwestern portion of Chicagoland, which includes us. But in the last 2 years, with our recommendation, we felt you should have a chance to also hear a report and then make a decision. So tonight we've given you some options. The CPI that we're using as a target, the most recent one, is 3.3%. And some will say, oh no, it's actually 4.1, and we've heard that with other things being included, but this is the general CPI, which you've identified as your marker. So it's a lower, and I guess in behalf of the users, it's a lower number this year, and it has been consistently over time. There's a lot of detail in your background from Brian Faber's background memorandum, and I've liberally stolen from it so that people who are looking at this agenda at home or don't have the time to come to our meetings can see just what the rationale is. What we've proposed is a 3.3% increase. That's a CPI, not a little below or a little above, which are the two other options we gave you. And the reason is our costs go up. Also, as you know very well, 2/3 of whatever that increase is in actual dollars goes into the repair of infrastructure. That's your policy. And every year in the budget, we lay out whatever that comes to be in terms of priorities. There's always a certain number of lineal feet of water main that's repaired or is replaced or is maybe lined. There are also repairs to treatment buildings. This year, one of our priorities is the SCADA system, which is outdated, needs to be upgraded. And the review of that is being done by Baxter and Woodman, which is also doing the new model, the water system modeling and so forth. So we feel it's justified. What would that mean for each monthly billing? It's a difference of roughly $1.36. Is that right? Am I looking at that right? And then times 6. So we recommend this to you. We feel for what the residents and businesses of DeKalb are getting on behalf of their needs, that's an extraordinary economical and efficient way of taking care of business and also being alert to inflation, which has been affecting everybody.
Alderman Perkins.
So thanks, Brian, for what you guys do. You do a great job. And actually, I think this is a no-brainer because, you know, I believe it's actually it's pretty conservative to say you're going to go up 3%. When everything we look at and read says inflation has been closer to 8, 9, 10, depending on the number. So this is actually a conservative number to continue to invest in the assets of our community. So I think it's a no-brainer to me.
Others? Alderwoman Zazada.
I agree, and think it's important for us to keep pace with the costs of the water. So I think it's important that we just keep going with this and make sure that we don't stick people with a double fee in a couple of years.
Alderman Burbick.
So this increase then is a reflection of what's needed for the water enterprise. But aren't we using some of that funding for what I would call administrative overhead? So funding of things that aren't contained within the water enterprise, we'll call it?
Well, it's all part of the enterprise. It just doesn't happen by itself, but people actually have put hands on, and yes, it is.
Right, so a
And
component
that
to-
overhead includes this, you know, the consulting work that does tell us what we need to fix and when we need to fix it too.
What's your?
No, the point was any of this increase funding any operations or positions outside of the water enterprise? So,
No,
okay, thank you.
no. You mean
Alderman-
like TIF or something like that? where-
Well, just administrative overhead, so you could view,
Oh,
in
right.
fact, you could take a component of your salary and attach it
No,
to
sir.
the water enterprise.
No,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Alderman Smith.
First off, Brian, I think congratulations on the award, am I correct? I waited if somebody beat me to the punch on that one. So I guess that just shows how, you know, I've known you a long time, how well things are run in the city as far as our water, to get that prestigious award. And I agree with the other aldermen. I mean, look at our ComEd costs, which probably are a good portion of this rate increase for pumping. If I'm right, Bill, is that probably a good chunk of our increase is going to be electric costs just to pump the water? And
Not a good
really.
part of it, but it's got to be included in
Right,
there.
and also, this is something that our residents can control. This is totally, water usage is in our own control.
It is.
So the bills can be reduced based on control, don't water your yard, or water the 1,000 plants I have, for example. So it is in our control, but I support this. I think we have to keep moving forward. And you start comparing some of the cities around us, you know, we are in really good shape as far as I'm concerned with water. So again, keep up the good work.
It's also paid off in the way that we've been able to attract new business, particularly on the south side, but not just there. The water system's one of the top 5 things that interested new business will want to know about. And it's important in their production, it's important for just the services they provide their employees. So it should be always considered that we're not just playing to ourselves, but to the future too.
Alderwoman Larson.
Just to expound a little bit on what Alderman Smith said about the award, that it's the best tasting water in the state, correct?
Correct.
I mean, we knew that, but just for
Yeah.
people listening, that that's a big deal. So you're going on to nationals.
Wow.
Excellent.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, so that good water doesn't come cheap, so keep up the good work.
As Alderwoman Larson said, when you think about it, it wasn't just like a good day for testing. This takes years to happen, and a lot of careful tending. All the monthly and bi-monthly reports that go to the EPA, all the testing, all the main breaks and the proper chlorination and the proper bring back on the line, that all affects the taste, the color, and the appearance of the water that we drink. And I'm very proud of what they do, and they deserve all the accolades they can get for this.
Agreed. Any other comments or questions on this? I think you're hearing go forth and do.
I got it.
Okay. Moving on to agenda item J, resolutions. Number 1, resolution 2024-040, authorizing the award of a contract to Curran Contracting in the amount of $2,114,037.27 for resurfacing and concrete repairs with staff authority to approve change orders up to a combined project total not to exceed $2,225,000. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderwoman Zazada, seconded by Alderman Perkins. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. With the allowance that we're asking for change orders, and with an item we're bringing to you at the next meeting on May 3rd, regular meeting on May 13th, because we just got the information in the last couple days, for what it would cost to do the daily engineering inspection of the summer street maintenance program. We're going to be right at $2.5 million. And that's important to note because when we gather on this Saturday for the workshop session, the strategic planning session, how much we need to spend going forward is there, but this is at least consistent with your policy of late, at least the working policy of $2.5 million, up from a couple decades of less than $1 million, unfortunately, which we're paying the price of right now. So,
Questions or comments? Alderman Smith.
I'll be honest, initially I was against this basically because of, I think we need to spend more, but after speaking with you, and we'll wait till Saturday, I'm behind this, so just so you know.
Would love to spend more.
You're gonna wanna do more.
Yeah.
I know, but, yeah, I guess, I understand we.
And we'll talk about ways and means to do that.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
So I'll wait till Saturday.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zasada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes.
7-0.
Resolution 2024-040 passes. Number 2, Resolution 2024-041, authorizing an engineering services agreement with Fair Graham for railroad permitting and design engineering of pavement improvements at the Annie Glidden Road underpass in an amount not to exceed $24,500. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman Verbeck. City Manager.
The title just about says it all.
Mhm.
As you know, we're gonna be doing a unique project. It's the pavement underneath the Annie Glidden overpass or underpass.
Can you call it pavement at this point, or? I don't know.
Pavement. That's all we're calling it. So.
Special.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to engineer that. That's what this is all about.
Council, questions, comments? Here, Alderman Smith?
Bill, I don't remember, did we years ago address the drainage problem there? Did we fix the storm sewers, correct? or-
Yeah, I think we'll be Zach, what?
Sorry, Zach,
what's
I should have
involved in
caught you
that?
beforehand. but-
I don't think I've seen that in a long time.
That's
Like
what-
flooded out?
I mean,
Yeah.
tell me I'm wrong, it's okay.
I'm assuming you're wrong.
It's fine.
We actually did, street department did some storm sewer repairs on there. Now, that was just because some of the cone on those were collapsed and that. But a lot of it, yeah, the curb line will stay the same, but now we'll have the new pavement, which will be concrete, will be designed and crowned that we will get all that water off quicker and efficiently. Part of the problem was it was lagging and sagging in there, and obviously that just eats up asphalt. So we will have it optimized for drainage.
Thanks, Zach.
Any other comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Perkins,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zasada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes.
7-0.
Resolution 2024-041 passes. Number 3, Resolution 2024-042, authorizing payment to the Macon County Law Enforcement Training Center for Police Academy training involving 6 new police officers in an amount not to exceed $51,000. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderwoman Larson, seconded by Alderwoman Zazada. City Manager.
Well, we had 6 police officers lined up to attend the Macon County Law Enforcement Training Center, and they've been doing a good job for us, and for some reason, they want to be paid for it. So that's what this is about.
Alderman Smith? No? Okay. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zasada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes.
7-0.
Resolution 2024-042 passes. Number 4, Resolution 2024-043, authorizing an engineering services agreement with Fair Graham for design engineering of 1,500 feet of water main replacement in various locations within the city in an amount not to exceed $62,950. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Perkins, seconded by Alderwoman Larson. City Manager.
This work is budgeted. We discussed these details in November, December. Now it's time we've got to line up the engineering that will make sure that these things happen according to our regulations and specs. So that's what this is about.
Alderwoman Larson, did you have a question on this or no? Okay. All right, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Walker,
Yes.
Zasada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes.
7-0.
Resolution 2024-043 passes. Moving on to agenda item K, ordinances, second reading, we have none. Agenda item L, ordinances, first reading. Number 1, ordinance 2024-021, adopting an amended land lease and solar agreement with DeKalb Taylor Solar LLC. Can I have a motion to bring to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Larson. City Manager.
I just want to thank Bill French for his patience tonight. He's here representing DeKalb Taylor Solar. We're recommending that you pass this. Normally, we would do first and second reading. This is an amendment to our easement and land lease. But we saw a vagary, an irregularity in the title work that came through, and we need to just amend the background that's in your agenda for tonight. So we recommend, and it's a small thing, but it's important that we do it. And working with the city attorney, we'll get that done and bring it back to you for a second reading if you are willing at the next meeting. So we recommend first reading on this. It's an extension, obviously. There's the solar procurement plan that is required by state law is administered by a higher agency at the state level, and we've been having to postpone the start of what we've been anxiously awaiting for and hoping to work very soon on. But that's what this is about.
Council, questions, comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Sasada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes.
7-9.
Ordinance 2024-021 passes on first reading. Agenda item M, reports and communications, council member reports. Alderman Walker, you want to kick us off?
No report.
Alderman Verbic?
Airport Advisory Board meeting tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Looking forward to it.
Alderman Perkins?
No report.
Alderwoman Larson?
No report.
Alderwoman Zazada?
I've got a few things real quick. Congratulations on the best tasting water. I really think that's really cool. Congratulations to Brian Faber, and I think the water tastes amazing. I was able to be at the naming ceremony for the new elementary school, Dr. Leroy Mitchell Elementary School, which was very exciting. I'm looking and really moving. I shared the, his speech, and it's really inspiring. You should take a listen. Construction on the school is actively underway. I'm just thrilled to see the transformative power of education in the community, so we're looking forward to that. And I will reiterate, as the chief said, in Uptown.
Alderman Smith?
I'll be having a ward meeting now that we're having the strategic plan on Saturday. I have more information, so expect a ward meeting in the near future from me. That's it.
Mine, quite a lot's been going on. I think there was a few of us at the, groundbreaking ceremony for the new school, and it was phenomenal. And to be named after, a community leader in our community that's been there for decades, I think really sets the tone of that school. And I thought it was just an incredible ceremony. And I'm really excited about having a school in that neighborhood, but especially one that holds the weight of, this is the Leroy Mitchell School. And I think that's going to resonate with a lot of the students and set expectations, which I think is just phenomenal of possibilities. Look what can happen this day and age. So that was exciting. During that time, also met with Habitat for Humanity, really just getting a better understanding of some of the projects that they have and some of the, I don't know, what would you call it, programs that they have, and one of them has been rehabilitation of houses, not just building new homes. So it was great to meet with the executive director and just get further understanding and some grand ideas that she has that I'm excited to see if they might come to fruition. But overall, it was just a nice opportunity to get to know her a little bit better and Habitat for Humanity a little bit better. Also, I was at the TUG ceremony, which was the Greek Row. It's an event that has been going on for 60 years. It's unique to Northern Illinois University. Huge crowds, which was great. Lots of excitement. It was freezing. I was underdressed, and I stayed there for 2 hours. My toes still feel it, but it was still just a lot of fun, and it's great to see how that program continues to grow. But then also went to Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. This is a safe passage event that was put on at the Convocation Center, to raise awareness and especially to raise funds to be able to help organizations like our Safe Passage. That was incredibly well attended, which was just great to see that kind of support. I also can't read my writing on that one, so I spent 2 days in Springfield last week. met with Senator Rezin, met with Representative Yednock, met with Representative Kiker, ultimately advocating for, obviously, the city of DeKalb, but having some real frank conversations about the governor's grocery tax that he wants to just eliminate, calling it a regressive tax, which in a way I can understand it is, except it's 1% on, if you had $200 worth of groceries, that's $2 a week it's going to save you. It's a very, very small savings for so many people, yet it's $750,000 to our budget. $750,000 that could be removed in the coming month or two with no ability for us to plan, no ability to find any sort of support, additional support to meet that budget shortfall. So I'm really concerned about it because it sounds like it's a done deal. And you ask any mayor in the great state of Illinois if they were consulted or had an idea of this or any input, and I'll tell you the answer is zero. So I'm bummed out about that. Then we went further into the police and fire pension crisis, which zero change really on that. They still want it to be 90% funded by 2040, which we're going to talk about, I think, Saturday, Mr. Nicholas, on what does that projection actually look like to the city of DeKalb. And that's disturbing that there's no action done to that. Then they also talked about going after the crime-free ordinance and eliminating that, which is an impactful thing that Bob Riddell has been utilizing in his role to really make our community safer and the apartments for so many people that live in our community safer by allowing us to actually go after landlords, which is how we've been able to utilize that. And then let's not even talk about the local government distributive fund that they still haven't funded after stripping about 4% off of it. And the overall theme that I heard in Springfield was elimination of local control. It's whatever Springfield wants, ultimately, that's what we are going to have to deal with. And some of these measures are instantaneous, and they're, as I mentioned with the grocery tax, incredibly negatively impactful on our budgets, which means it's going to be negatively impactful in one way or another to the citizens of DeKalb. So I wish I could say it was a great trip down there. I had almost 2 days being in hearings and meeting with individual legislators. And I didn't leave there feeling good. I think City Manager Nicholas could testify to that. We were both pretty agitated and irritated by what we're hearing, as well as just a lack of real understanding and reach out on how these changes are going to actually affect those of us that work hard trying to make sure the people we represent are represented well. But I guess none of the councils are good enough for that. So state's starting to take more and more control. So I was bummed. But the nice thing is we do have great voices with Representative Yednock, with Representative Kiker. Even though he is not our district, he is adjacent to our district, and he's always been a voice for the region, which is great. And then Senator Rezin was always good to talk to. And they advocate as much as they can, but there are 3 lone voices in that sea of shouts. Other than that, I think that's it. City Manager, did you have any comments?
2 quick things, yes. At your table tonight, you see the final results of the levy and rate process that we all go through in the fall. All the final EAV numbers are in. The local taxing bodies know what they are. The result of a lot of job owning and collaboration and so forth is mixed. I can say that all the taxing bodies reduced their rate a little bit, but only 4 were mindful of the impact on the individual property tax payer, and what the actual out-of-pocket contribution is. The city, KWRD, the sanitary district, and both the DeKalb Township Road Commissioner and DeKalb Township Board. Thank you to them for doing that. All the others went up. If you see this, I'm sorry, as these are photocopied, sometimes the colors don't look as good. It was yellow, now it's gold, and the green is kind of obvious. It was supposed to be red, meaning stop, let's go in the other direction in terms of the other taxing bodies. And the total, though, is somewhat encouraging if it wasn't for the out-of-pocket increase. And what you see in the very bottom, roughly in the middle, it says increase. This is just that imaginary house we've been following since 5 years ago. It started with an EAV of 100,000. Now it's up over that, as you can see by the charts. That's not necessarily the average house, it's just what we know for sure is happening to that particular household. And there are many houses that are smaller, there are some that are bigger, and there are a lot of businesses that are a lot bigger. They're going to be paying more out of pocket than they did last year. And that's, to me, very disappointing. Just this one average house paying another $269. House half that size, probably half that amount. And they were looking to pay less, because as they look to the south, they see a heck of a lot of new EAV being created, and they're wondering to themselves, why can't our taxing bodies get a hold of whatever it is that's moving them in the direction of pushing for more rather than pushing for less. Thank you to the mayor, to this council, for being aggressive and trying to make a difference, for coming back after we got our first run at the EAV and saying that doesn't work. We've got to do this again, and meeting and taking time out of your schedules to do that. I appreciate it. And then finally, I just want to thank Chief Byrd and the police department. They are such a valuable part of the services we provide our community, and I appreciate, particularly in your slideshow, the differences that are being made and have been made in the last couple of years. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to agenda item N, executive session. We have none, which means I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Alderwoman Zazada.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Burbick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay, same sign. We're adjourned.
No, I don't want to.